Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special live session with Justiri Network. My name is Nancy Masila, founder and CEO of Justiri Network, and today's conversation is all about the Startup 360 Connect program. If you've been following my page on LinkedIn, or if you've been following Josery Network, you might have seen us talking about the Startup 360 Connect program. And today I just wanted to have a conversation around the program, share what it is about, share even like the person or the tech hub behind it, and kind of just share a little bit more about what's going on, the startups and the program, and the cherry on top, which is them coming to the London Tech Week, which I'm quite excited about. So this program is a new initiative designed to sort of support high potential startups in East Africa to scale globally. The UK Kenya Tech Hub is running the program in partnership with the Siri Network, which we're very happy to do, and with Kala. The program brings together resources, mentors, investors to help founders unlock global opportunities, especially in the UK. And joining me today is someone who's been deeply involved in shaping this program, Billy Msagha, the Deputy Country Director of the UK Kenya Tech Hub. And Billy works at the heart of innovation, digital economic development, and ecosystem building between the UK and Kenya. And he's passionate about enabling founders to think globally while solving problems locally. Billy, welcome. It's such a great pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Nancy. I know this has been in the works for a while. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
glad this is really the day we get to do it. Yeah, thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
I'm really glad as well. And today, at least the weather is good on my end because I'm in London, and
Yeah,
you never know how the weather is going to be when you wake up. So I'm glad we're able to do this.
that's amazing.
Perfect. And before we start, by the way, where are you tuned in from today?
Yeah, so I'm tuned in from Nairobi, Kenya. It's been raining a bit, so I can see the sun is coming out, which is a good thing
Yeah,
also. So I guess we are sharing something in common today, good weather.
true, true, true.
Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah, so I mean, I think let's just get into it, right? And let's
yeah,
talk about the background and the vision of the program. So, Billy, to kind of start us off, because I get this a lot. People are always asking, what is the UK Kenya Tech Hub? So, could you tell us a little bit more about the UK Kenya Tech Hub and what it does essentially?
yeah. So thanks, Nancy, once again. Yeah, so I'm from the UK Kenya Tech Hub. I bet a couple of you have interacted with maybe the UK South Africa Tech Hub, the UK Nigeria Tech Hub, and we all fall under what is called the International Tech Hub Network, which again is part of a lucrative program run by the Foreign Office, the UK's Foreign Office, known as the Digital Access Program. So we sit under the Pillar 3 of the Digital Access Program as all the tech hubs are distributed globally. So we are in about 6 countries. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey so far. Uh, Truth be told, we're about 5 years old. We began this journey just before COVID, 5, 6 years old. That's about 2019, getting into 2020. I joined the Tech Hub a couple of years later. That's about 2022. And yeah, so the Tech Hubs were brought into existence. And, I actually think they're one of the most interesting innovations the UK government has put forward to support local countries, local ecosystems where the tech hubs are based to connect directly to the UK. So when we talk about connecting directly to the UK, there's that cross linkage in partnerships, cross linkage in skill transfer, knowledge transfers, supporting investments, and of course looking at the UK as a global market, leveraging on that for local businesses in these countries. Case in point, Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. That's at least for the African market to get access to the UK as a global market and unlocking that global frontier. So in a nutshell, that's what the UK Kenya Tech Hub is. It's an exciting place to be. We look at ourselves as the bridge between the private sector and the public sector, as the government, corporate startups, VCs, you name it. We are right in the middle of it.
Amazing, amazing. And I think you've mentioned about the three tech startups in Africa, but I think globally, is it six or seven? Sorry.
So it's about 6 countries for now, but I know
Okay.
there is appetite, from the conversations we've had globally to expand
Yeah.
the tech mandate. So
Okay.
I think in a few years we will see a UK East Africa tech hub as opposed to a UK Kenya tech hub because there's a
Yeah.
growing need. for that support across the local ecosystems that surround the countries that are currently hosting the tech hubs. Yeah.
Amazing. And outside of Africa, which other tech hubs are there? I think is it Brazil in
Yeah,
South
so we
America?
have we have one in South America. That's Brazil. It's a very vibrant ecosystem. We're
Mm-hmm.
getting an opportunity to meet them this year. I know we're going to speak about that. But in London Tech Week, they'll be joining us there. Also, our colleagues from Indonesia will be joining us there. So that's quite exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. Great. And I mean, you guys are the ones, running the program, the Startup 360 Connect program. So I wanted to sort of talk about the program, what the program is all about and how does it aim to support startups from East Africa. I know you guys are the UK Kenya Tech Hub, but it seems to also seem like you're also operating in East Africa market.
Yeah, so I mean, there's an interesting backstory to this program. I remember last year was our first time, Enos and I, our country director, to actually fly to London for the London Tech Week specifically. And it was an interesting experience because our colleagues from South Africa and Nigeria had prepared a delegation of, I think we're numbering about 30 startups, that were so excited to be in the ecosystem, connecting with partners. And they had a good itinerary of a 2 week period, an immersion trip that's how these startups interact with accelerator programs in the UK, corporate partners. I remember we took a wonderful train ride all the way to Birmingham to meet with the Westland Midlands company. It was quite an interesting experience. And, that exposure in itself gave us a challenge. And, I remember after London Tech Week, we came back and strategized around, what is the next course of action? How could we be of support, not only to the Kenyan startups, but also to the East African startups at large? And how could they leverage on the opportunity that we have that direct access to the UK market as a UK Kenya Tech Hub to also support the local ecosystem as per our mandate, to really access the resources that are there. And when I talk about the resources, I'm talking about the investments. We have a long shared history with the UK, and it's a good thing that over the years it's been developing in a positive way. So accessing that investment in the UK, we see a lot of Kenyans going to study in the UK, that high growth talent. How are we mapping it back to startups back at home, and also supporting the UK ecosystem at that level. And of course, the most important that validates any startup's business model is the ability to scale and grow, and especially to a fast world market. So the UK, has been presented as that partner of choice when you look at our relationship with them. And yeah, so we came back home with Enos quickly, put this together into a program, got the right partners, the likes of you and Kala, just to help us facilitate that. Yeah, and I don't want to say the rest is history because we are living it right now. Yeah, but it's been a fantastic journey so far and ride, with the startups that we have in the program. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting that you guys also, sharing about your trip to the London Tech Week last year, because I was also attending the London Tech Week last year for the very first time. For some reason, we never connected, but
Yeah.
like you and Enos met somebody who's Kenyan
Yes.
on the Jubilee train, right? And you
Yes.
only knew they were Kenyan because you were wearing their Kenyan bracelet, and
Oh
you
yeah.
wanted to find out about like other Kenyan diaspora in the UK, people you could tap into to also sort of get into the tech ecosystem here. And they mentioned the Siri network, and I
Yeah.
thought that was really incredible. And then you guys reached out to me after seeing kind of like the things we were doing in the community space with the African diaspora. And again, I think, in terms of you talking about talent, Jasiri Network is composed of like, international students, people in professionals, and also entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You mentioned 2019, and that's the year I left Kenya, actually.
Right.
So I used to
Oh,
work with PwC Kenya, and then I
mhm.
moved to the UK in September of 2019 to work with KPMG. And I was in the tech risk space. So I totally understand about that talent and trying to make sure, you are accessing the talent and also building onto the networks that are already existing. It's incredible. It's almost six years in September this
Yeah.
year being in the UK. So it's been quite a
Wow.
journey. But anyway, enough of that. Now like we are at the stage where we've selected 20 startups. And these were 20 startups from a very competitive pool because again, the application was being made to East Africa. So we had startups applying from Kenya, applying from Uganda, from Tanzania. Can you walk us through through what the selection process looked like, from the application criteria to evaluation, and what made the final 20 startups stand out.
So yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to start. The appetite that we've seen since we launched the call for applications, and even thereafter, we still have startups that are asking us, is it possible to apply at this stage of the program? How does that look like? We missed out on this opportunity. We think we should have done better. It was very competitive from the start. And I remember, we were quite unsure, by the way, when we began about the appetite for the ecosystem. We thought it would actually be Kenya centric alone, but we saw a lot of traction from startups in Uganda, startups in Tanzania. I don't think we got a Rwandese startup or Burundian startup to apply yet, but at least between Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania, we really saw a lot of traction, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of appetite, from fintechs to health tech, insurtech, cybersecurity, you name it. So I think one of the things that really helped us, narrow down to these 20 startups. Number one was our focus areas. And
Mm,
this again comes at the back of a lot of mapping and analysis of what is that ideal UK investor looking for in an African startup. So I know we've had extensive conversations even before the program began, with various VCs that we met during our time in London, the Department of Business and Trade here, because they facilitated that across Africa. I know in South Africa they have such a huge presence where they support businesses to scale actively in the UK. So we've had those interactions with deal makers from the Global Entrepreneurial Program as part of the Department of Business and Trade. So out of that, we did come up with that metric of, okay, this startup has made it, this has not made it because of that. And I must
yeah.
say and really commend the Kenyan businesses, the Tanzanian businesses, the Ugandan businesses that and startups that really applied for this program. I think in one way or another they were qualified, but we just had to set the bar high. And for us, it looked like tracking that growth traction. Is it there? We want
Yeah.
something tangible. We get it, especially when you look at more developed markets like states, like the UK. I'm a fan of Shark Tank. I'm a fan of Lions Den. I'm a fan of Dragon's Den in the UK. And a couple of times you watch these programs, and occasionally you'll find an entrepreneur who's come to pitch very confident. They don't necessarily have any traction, but because of the structure of that developed market, it's very easy for an investor to put in money. Of course, it's a higher risk, but the traction is almost always guaranteed. So unfortunately, those are not the realities that we live in. So for us, really seeing that tangible traction was important. And yeah, have they raised before? It's important because we really didn't want to trust anyone into that fundraising cycle and that high speed dating of sorts that we're going to see later on in London Tech Week this year with the various investors if you don't have any experience, whether bootstrapped, whether pre-seed investment, because for this program we were specifically targeting seed and Series A funding for startups in this region. So it was very important for us to get someone who's had a background in that. Then that way it makes
Yeah.
our work also very easy when you're scaling with them to London to really understand and plug in directly to that market without a lot of hand holding. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was a process in a nutshell. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. And now that we're speaking about like the 20 startups, I actually wanted to share the startups that made it through. Let me actually share my screen right now. So that we just see how cool this is all
Yeah.
is. Yeah, so as you can see, the Startup 360 Connect is being led by the UK Kenya Tech Hub, and in partnership with Carla on ground. We have Microsoft as well, who are going to be our key partners on this end during the London Tech Week, and of course the UK International Development Organization. And these are the 20 startups. I
Yeah.
must say, we will not beat the allegations that East Africa and Kenya is known for fintech because
Yeah.
the majority of the startups do fit in the fintech. How many are they?
That's
Um,
about 10.
yeah, yeah, out of all the different sectors. So we have fintech, we have health tech, we have agri tech, we have insurtech, and yeah, I think it's quite exciting. In the fintech, of course, we have some very very strong players. In the
Oh
health
yeah.
tech as well, which is an area that I'm quite passionate about. I
Yeah.
think we have some really good startups as well. And of course, with AI, data analytics being the talk of, every conversation you talk about. So we have the dark, there prompt BI, so many again, again also
Yeah,
in the insurtech and climate tech.
yeah.
So I'm quite excited to
Yeah,
see all these different sectors.
yeah, it's quite exciting, and I really must commend the founders. We really have a strong founder network in Kenya. And I don't support the conversation that says the startup market, the startup ecosystem in Kenya is fragmented. I think
Yeah,
everyone is playing such a key role, and this shortlisting in itself just showcases the kind of talent that we have, ingenuity, innovativeness that we have in the Kenyan ecosystem. Yeah, actually, the wider East African ecosystem.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, quite excited as well. And yeah, I think I'll stop sharing my screen, but and kind of continue with the conversation. But I'm also quite excited to interact with the startups, seeing the growth, seeing how like they're really, really making an impact out there. And I think then we can move on swiftly and now kind of talk about the program itself, the experience, the cohort. Again, this is the first of its kind. And what exposure, are we kind of trying to support the startups to get? So in terms of the program and with the active cohort currently, what sort of support are the founders receiving? How is the program structured to help them also scale internationally? And here I want you to speak around the resources, the collaboration, and of course the funding. But yeah, because again, it's a 360 program, so it's not just one thing.
Yeah, thanks Nancy for that. And we did call it 360 Connect for a specific reason. We
Yeah,
just didn't want this to be a plug and play where we connect you to investors and we let you walk that journey. We wanted to prepare the startups fully of what it means to raise in a new market, what it means to scale in a new market, what it means to attract talent in a new market. So,
yeah,
and looking at that dynamic, I must say, you know, we are all blessed differently. And when you look at the UK ecosystem, how the culture is there, how investors relate to startups is absolutely different from the Kenyan market. So we really had to do a lot of background work to leverage on the skill and expertise that we have to, get great partners like you, Nancy at Jasiri, Anne and Franklin at Kala, to help us really tailor make this program in a way that is more beneficial to startups. And I
yeah,
know there's that conversation in the ecosystem of are we over mentoring the startups? But I think what's really made us stood out is that ability to bring the UK ecosystem back home to Kenya, help our startups understand it here with the local realities, then make it very easy for them to scale in the UK as a secondary and global market for them. So we've seen a lot of masterclasses, very well tailor made around investments, around markets, around customer attraction, you name it. That's been one of the key things that we've been able to facilitate through this program. Then, of course, that one-to-one mentoring, we are seeing a lot of good appetite from the investment community in the UK. Just beyond meeting the startups and signing the checks, they're really interested in building that relationship, which is quite a very unique thing. Looking at that as a very high growth, high speed market where startup scale, the likes of Revolut, we've seen them really scale very well, and many other startups. So that for us has been a highlight, and we've really calculated the program quite well. Looking at how businesses are scaling in a very beautiful way in the UK, then leveraging on that experience through these investors to plug into the program and helping our startups grow. Then another thing that we are seeing, and this really speaks a lot to the great structure that the UK government has in general to support tech and innovation. So I talked about the Department of Business and Trade. They do have a
yeah,
program known as a Global Entrepreneur Program, and we've been interacting together as a team with the deal maker assigned to East Africa, and he's been very particular in terms of working with us that journey of what it looks like, getting a business based in Africa or wherever it is in the world, but this one specifically in Africa. And we are seeing how they are supporting, as the UK government supporting the businesses to come set up shop in the UK. So that also speaks to the structure that exists, and it's quite commendable if you think about it.
yeah,
That support is from the top down, and it's really helping our startups accelerate at a much faster rate as compared to when those structures don't exist here.
yeah. No, I think it's fantastic as well. And speaking of which, the court will be coming to London, which I'm really, really excited. Like I'm always
Yeah, it's
really
quite
happy.
exciting.
Yeah, like I normally joke like, sometimes you can be in London and you're speaking English from morning till evening, not even speaking Swahili. Someone is looking for opportunity to have
Yeah,
people
yeah,
in the local and for me to
mhm,
speak Swahili with them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, so the London Tech Week is this June and include part of the program and what with the whole program that's happening is bringing a couple of startups to the London Tech Week and us organizing like a side event on the 12th of June. And then in addition to that, also having like dedicated office hours with partners and collaborators. Because again, this is a full emulsion of the whole London Tech Week with the tech ecosystem here in the UK. So what are we hoping and what are you hoping the startups gain from this sort of exposure?
Oh yeah, so I'd say we do have a packed itinerary for them. It's
Yeah,
not just coming for the London Tech Week, and
yeah,
I'm really happy and quite excited for what we've planned for. So we've centered this 1 week visit around, of course, um, couple of select sessions at the London Tech Week. We have office hours with VCs. We have VCs that have already shown interest in investing in the Kenyan startups. So I know we were finalizing on the deal book, then figure out how that's gonna go. That's an exciting bit for us. We really want to see how that's gonna pan out because it really goes to validate our model. Then we are seeing also B2B partnerships being fostered. Businesses are coming on board. Okay, we are not necessarily offering funding, but this is how we can partner with the Kenyan startups. It's
yeah,
all very exciting stuff. And the cherry on the icing is our side event. We have a side event on the Thursday. That's on the 12th. It's quite exciting where we'll have our startups in the room with a soft launch, a bit of showcase from them, great talks from great partners. We have Microsoft for Startups on board. They've come in as a main sponsor for the event. We're quite excited about it. And not only the event, we're also looking at how that future conversation is going to be shaped with corporates like them because they are big of taker of startups. When you look at the model of such corporations,
yeah.
investors will be in the room, VCs that we've interacted with over the week, they'll be in the room. So it's going to be a packed week, well crowned off, and fingers crossed that our startups will actually get full value from the trip. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think they will because I really enjoyed the London Tech Week and with the way the London Tech Week is programmed, yes, we have the actual main event happening from the 9th to the 11th and the venue is going to be at London Olympia, but there are so many other things happening because what happens is everybody in the tech ecosystem is out and ready to
yeah,
connect with other people. And I
yeah,
remember attending the London Tech Week last year and just seeing delegates from across the world. So it's not just even about everyone who's in London, but it's also about everyone who's flying into London from all different parts of the world because you're talking about the UK South Africa Tech Hub, you're talking about the UK Nigeria Tech Hub, you're talking about the Brazil, UK Brazil Tech Hub. So there are many people from across the world flying in to London for the London Tech Week. So it's just not opportunities that exist in London, but also the world almost is coming to London for that particular event. So I'm quite excited about it, honestly.
yeah.
And I
And
can't also wait to have all the different partners, collaborators from the VCs to the corporate partners, to everybody who's very active in the African tech space, being in the room and being in a position to talk with the startups, to engage with them, and see how they can also support in this program. I think then the other bit I wanted us to talk about briefly is around like the partnership or that involved because there are so many partners in this program,
yeah,
right? So it's not just the UK Kenya Tech Hub, but the different partners in this program being made possible. But of course, the UK Kenya Tech Hub, Jasiri Network from where I sit, and also Kala. And what makes this collaboration unique and how has it shaped the program rollout so far? So just a bit of background to the
yeah.
different partners involved.
Yeah, yeah, which is very important actually. So I think first and foremost for me, it's again to really congratulate the startups because without them, then we wouldn't have the program. So all
True.
20 of them have been very instrumental in shaping the program. And of course, as I mentioned, this being a pilot, there's a lot of learnings that we're already taking out of it. So, and I know the next iteration of the program will be quite quite different in a better way, more pronounced way, more structured way. And yeah, but then again to the partners, so this counts as the first time I think any tech hub has done this, where we have a partner based in Kenya or the local country and a partner based in the UK. So we decided to adopt that model, some of a hybrid model, and it's really been a fantastic model. We are seeing a lot of traction, a lot of fruits are coming out of it, and it just speaks to the skill and expertise not only of that strategy, but of the teams that are facilitating. Yeah, and that happens to be you, Nancy,
Yeah.
with your team, the Siri Network,
Yes.
based in the UK. I know you have some presence in Kenya, but you're most strong in the UK. You've been fantastic in getting us meetings with investors, meetings with corporates, securing some of these deals for our startups, and that's been amazing. I think that's probably one of the best strategies we employed this year, in terms of program delivery. And yeah, it just speaks also to the choice of partners that are facilitating. Then over here in Kenya, I know the startups have been actively engaging with Kala. Kala
Yeah.
Limited, that's the founder is Dr. Shiko Gitao, a good friend of the ecosystem. I know many Kenyans know her.
She's done
Uh,
incredible work in the
oh
tech
yeah,
space,
she's fun. Yeah,
Oh gosh, I'm such a
yeah,
fan of Shiko.
yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And actually, she's going to be joining us in London, which is also very exciting. So we'll get the whole gang there. Yeah. But Nancy, I'd also throw back the question to you. How was the partnership? How's the partnership so far? How is the program? How is the delivery
Yeah.
model? Do you like it?
No, I think, like you mentioned, I think the startups are the star of the show, right? They have incredible businesses that they're running. Again, these are startups that are market ready, investor ready. They have traction, they're scaling. A good number of them have investment already. So it's not their first rodeo. They have lots of experience. We've also seen a lot of startups, founders being not even first time founders. They've done this two or three times. So it's incredible just also learning about them and their businesses, what they're doing, and seeing how we can support them in this process. And I think that's why the partnership kind of really works. And for us at Josiri Network, being a diaspora fast community, it was so important for us to be part of the program because not only are African diaspora first and foremost consumers of a lot of these products and services, we also have a good understanding of like the market. So I've been in the UK going to 6 years in September, right? And I was back in corporate, I was in tech and finance. So I have a lot of experience and a lot of like networks in these spaces, and being able to not only bring on board partners that
Hmm.
are in tech, but partners who we know are active in the African tech space, partners that we know are a good fit. Because it's
Yeah.
one thing to just bring on board a partner, but they don't understand what it means to run a business in Africa, or they don't know understand what it means to invest in Africa. Because there's always a lot of talk about patient capital, and patient
Yeah.
capital is, you know, whenever somebody's investing in Africa, it's a whole different ecosystem. You
Hmm.
have so many other factors that play into the ecosystem. It's not the same thing as investing in the West. So I think for us at Just Network, it was important to bring partners who understand and
Yeah.
have experience with funding Africa, building African businesses as well. So very, very important to have that. And I think on the other end, locally, having Kala on ground and
Yeah.
having them, kind of running the day to day with the startups. So at least the startups have somebody to talk to, somebody to engage with. If they have any questions, they're able to get responses. So that way, I think it was perfect match, right? Us, leaning on our networks on this end, and then Kala delivering on that end. And now once the startups come to London, at least they have a face that they're familiar with, right? Because Jasuri Network will be on this end, with the side event organization and with the different office hours. Because we know how crazy sometimes like the tube network is. Like let us not even talk about the VCs and whatnot. But like just
Yeah.
navigating the tube in London
Yeah.
is not for the
No, that's
faint-hearted,
yeah. Yeah. We
right?
really got lost last year. It's unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah. That's quite
Yeah,
crazy.
so yeah, so I really love that we're able to have two key partners supporting on the ground for this particular program. And
Yeah.
I can't wait. I know this is the first one, lots of lessons as well to learn. And I'm hoping for the next iteration, as you mentioned, it's going to be better, it's going to be bigger, and we're going to be able to run a tight ship,
Yeah.
so to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I think that as we kind of come to the end of it, like, looking forward, what does success look like for this particular cohort? And this is, during the program and after the program, because also remember the program started quite early on. And like you mentioned, that several workshops and masterclasses that have been ongoing, lots of conversation with partners, with investors ongoing, and of course with the startups and program participants coming to London for the London Tech Week. So how does
Hmm.
success look during the program and after the program?
Yeah, so I think one of the key things that is always at the front of our minds is are we giving value to startups, and what does that value look like? So I know I spoke a lot about us doing that analysis and you know the behind the scenes work with a lot of the VCs that we're targeting, the investors, investments, and all that. But you see, also on this other side, consultation with startups is key because we really don't want to give them a raw deal. And for me,
Yeah,
a raw deal looks like over mentoring and not giving the opportunities. Constantly telling them this is how you should iterate your business model. But even the people facilitating the sessions have not been entrepreneurs before. So, Enos is a two-time founder. It's interesting how he
he
came
is.
back to become a country director. I always pick on him about that. I think he should have done quite well
Yeah,
scaling more companies. I think he's gonna go back into that. But that alone shows you the kind of experience and expertise is there. Looking at you straight out of corporate, senior level management. You know how to run a company. At that senior level management, then bring that expertise over to the startup side. That's also quite interesting. Then the color team is also, I know they have the Q Lab ideas where they churn startups out. We've done with them several projects in the past where they've actively linked corporates to startups and vice versa. So
yeah,
leveraging on such experience is key so that we also don't give the startups a road. So for me, during the program, as we are proceeding, is connecting the startups to the right people. And partnerships, collaborations have to stand out for us. And that's actually the core of this program because we don't want to get the startups out to London. They've pulled in their funding. They've gotten themselves to London. We've done the itinerary. Then after the side event, we are no longer with them. That for me is not a success. So for me,
yeah,
success looks like helping them forge those relationships. Using our positions of influence to really help them knock down some doors, open some doors for them. Go against some stereotypes. Help them really test run and scale their businesses in a very sustainable way. So yeah,
yeah.
then of course, just like any other program, I would be so excited to see at least one startup secure an investment deal. That for us will really go a long way to, just tell us, what, guys. I think also on this side you're doing quite a good thing because a good chunk of the time has been devoted to supporting investments into the startups directly. Yeah. So I hope I've answered your question well.
You have, and I think it does make sense, right? Because all the startups we have are also raising capital, and they're raising different types of capital. So essentially, that's why they're part of the program. Yes, to get all these
Yeah.
partnerships. Yes, to collaborate. Yes, to find out about the tech ecosystem in the UK. But at the end of the day, they're raising funds, right? And we're also supporting them to do that. So at the back of our mind, and I think at the core of this program, it's supporting them in this fundraising journey that they're on.
Hmm.
So rightly put. And I guess
Yeah.
that's kind of also brings us to the end of this session, right? So
Yeah.
really thank you so much for your time and for sharing your valuable insights into the startup 360 connect program. To our listeners, this is just the beginning, because again the program has not even come to an end. We're in May, but we have June as well. And I think at this point is where the startups are starting to talk with like the investors. I
Yeah.
know a couple of sessions have been booked in for
Hmm.
them. And if if you're an ecosystem player, be it an investor or you're just passionate about African innovation, or even you're founder yourself, this is the moment to connect. Feel free to reach out to any of us. Myself, I'm quite active on LinkedIn. And see you at the London Tech Week. Let me know if you're interested in being part of the side event we're organizing. You're curating the guest list. And yeah, reach out to us. Reach out to myself, Nancy, or to Billy. And see you at London Tech Week.
Yeah,
Amazing.
thanks.
Thank you so
Having
much,
me.
Billy.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was amazing. Yeah, thanks.
Amazing.